aka Geeks.
Hey everybody, welcome to AKA Geeks, and this is the movie of the week. This is the month of October. Halloween is coming up at the end of the month, so all this month we are doing Halloween/horror movies. I do this every year. I love this time of the year because I'm trying to open my mind and open my eyes to other types of movies, which I don't traditionally like very much. So we are jumped in last week with Deathgasm, which we did a group discussion on that one, which was really fun and surprising. So check that one out. But for this week, I chose a movie that I put to your guys' thoughts. It was The Forest. This film is in the horror genre. Now, after watching this film, I gotta say, I wasn't too much thinking that it was a true horror. I thought more of it as a thriller. With that being said, I think that my expectations of it being a horror film threw me off with the movie as a whole. Natalie Dormer stars in this film. You guys know her from Game of Thrones. I love her in the show. She is portraying the role of two girls, twin sisters. And in this film, the acting is, good acting. It's not bad acting. There's nothing that's super corny, nothing that comes off really weird. So they did a good job in that aspect. But the part that got me was, again, like I said, I was expecting a horror film, and this film had such a slow start. To me, there was really nothing about it for the first 30 odd minutes, give or take, that yelled out horror to me. It was just it seemed like they were trying to go for a suspense, a thriller type of film, which it totally could have been if they just had, instead of the forest, just have some other gritty Japanese sub-city underground plot. It could have totally fallen into that realm and just changed a couple things. With that being said, again, I was disappointed because of that. The acting was there. The storyline and the story and the genre that it's in failed me. The production on this film was very clean, which also threw me off a little bit because I'm used to having horror movies have a certain sense of pizzazz, I guess you could say. There are what you would say would be AAA type of horror films like Conjuring that look great. They have a different sensibility to them. This film did not have that sensibility, I thought. Going on with the film, I felt that this film rested heavily on psychological horror versus physical horror. There were no real physical dangers except for in the movie, which was themselves, which they explicitly tell you this in the beginning of the film when they finally get to Japan and they meet the trail guide. He kind of explicitly tells you it's all in your head, it's all psychological. And so therefore for me, the whole movie being psychological, it was kind of like all for nothing. I felt like they told us that it wasn't real, and then they showed us a bunch of stuff that obviously wasn't real, and they kept going with that. And they even have the girl saying, "You're not real, you're not real, you're not real." So over time in this movie, I kind of got a little tired of that aspect. I will say this though, there was a couple instances where it was a little, I guess you could say, spine tingly. I did get goosebumps in two sections, I think it was. And the first one, I think because I related to it the most, was when they're actually in a tent in the forest, and it's just kind of that silent rustle of the leaves and things like that, which I've been camping many times before, and that's kind of like what I related it to. I understood that feeling, and then to add what she's going through mentally, I totally understood that, and it gave me goosebumps. And then there was one other moment in the film that gave me goosebumps, which was kind of a cheap one. It was kind of a jump scare. It was also at the same time that it was like, whoa, that's pretty wicked. And that was in a cave at one point. Overall, with this film, I was disappointed, and I think that's because I was expecting something else from it. I had heard good things about it from back when it came out in theaters. When I saw the IMDb page for it and looked at the rating for it, I saw, whoa, it's pretty low. So I had two different sides of the equation. I heard good things about it, and I saw a poorly reviewed page on IMDb. I don't know if I would recommend this film for everybody. I think that if you are a big fan of psychological horror or Japanese horror, this might be a film for you. But even then, the Japanese side of things is kind of lost because it doesn't focus. To me, this could have been filmed in British Columbia. It doesn't exactly just grab you and say this is in Japan, except for the fact that there was a girl that looks like she's Japanese in there, and there's a character, a guy that looks like he's Japanese in there. So if you really like psychological horrors or Japanese horror films, this might be for you. Other than that, I probably wouldn't recommend this for anybody. With all that being said, that's it for this week's movie of the week. You guys stay tuned for next week's group movie of the week. We are taking suggestions for that discussion. It has to be a horror or Halloween movie, but let us know. We definitely like all suggestions we get. Alright guys, so remember to go check out AKA Geeks podcast, the weekly podcast on iTunes, Spreaker, Google Play. We appreciate the follows and the subscribes. And for this video, that's all for today, you guys. Remember to click the like, share, subscribe buttons down below. Leave your comments, questions, suggestions in the comment section. Let's have a great conversation about the forest, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
AKA Geeks.